Hello, world and universe. Welcome to the Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth. And if you're new to the channel, please hit that like and subscribe button. And for all my continued followers, I want to say thank you. And this is an opinion-based video channel where I try to open your eyes and ears up to some of the travails and tribulations that take place throughout our cities, our states, our country, and sometimes around the world. So today I'm not going to give you a storyline about something that has taken place in many of our cities, states, and country, but I want to talk a little bit, and I've kind of pivoted on my channel to talk a little sports. I'm an avid sports fan, played high school and college ball on scholarships, and did not make it to the pros, but love football season, basketball season, and we got to talk about the debacle that happened with the Los Angeles Lakers. I haven't done much commentary on the NBA outside of its losing its U.S. viewership by 50% since the Michael Jordan era. And of course, this particular topic is going to be surrounded around LeBron James. And there's a couple of teams in sports that have avid fans that are going to be with their team and organization each and every year, no matter what. For example, the Dallas Cowboys, who in the last 30 years have not done very much since the mid-90s. But each and every year, these Dallas Cowboy fans want to see the Cowboys go to the championship, and this is going to be that year, and it has not happened. St. Louis baseball Cardinals, avid Cardinals fans in St. Louis. The Chicago Cubs, Chicagoans, avid Chicago Cubs fans. And of course, in basketball, and then I can go on and on with the Yankees, Boston Red Sox. But in basketball, you have avid Laker fans, avid Boston Celtics fans, no matter what is going on. And of course, New York Knicks, who haven't won in damn near a century. In winning an NBA championship. But this is an interesting take on what is going on with one individual player who, for the last 10 years, been in the league 20 years, but his name is always at the top of the headlines. And of course, this is King James, LeBron James, and how they damn near got swept against the Minnesota Timberwolves just a few days ago. They end up losing 4-1 in the first round of the playoffs. But we got to look at what is taking place with the Lakers and how this organization, this historic organization, have basically given the entire keys to one player, LeBron James. They didn't do it with Shaq, Kobe, maybe a little bit with Magic Johnson in the 80s, but I have never seen one player have such a dominant presence in the front office and, of course, on the court like LeBron James. LeBron James has been there, 7 years now with the Lakers. He's had 4 head coaches. He ended up winning a championship during the bubble season, I think. But I think it's time for LeBron to retire. He's been there 21 years. He pulled a Deion Sanders, a level of nepotism and not what you know, but who you know, by getting his son drafted by the Lakers. Look at the 3 things that he did this year alone. He got his son drafted, who I don't think is a pro. I think that LeBron's son, Bronny James, is less of a pro than Shedeur Sanders, the son of Deion Sanders. At least Shedeur did some things on the court. I think Shedeur did some things on the field that could illustrate and display some small samples of possibly being an NFL player, let alone an NFL quarterback. I don't think Bronny James showed hardly anything for the 1 year he was at USC to get drafted. Bronny is 6'2", which is not even the average size of a NBA guard or player in today's time. So a little bit undersized would be a true point guard. Um, he's not 6'8", 6'9". So through nepotism, through who you know, not what you know, uh, LeBron James pulled a rabbit out of his hat and got the Lakers to draft him. I don't necessarily blame LeBron doing it for his son, but I think he's setting his son up for the ultimate failure. I don't think Bronny is a pro. Now, what was the second thing LeBron did this year? He got J.J.REDDICK, who's never coached a day in his life, to become the head coach of the Lakers. That's number 2. And you can see that J.J.REDDICK is not prepared to be an NBA coach. He's never been an assistant NBA coach, a college coach. He went from podcasting and being a part of LeBron's team to LeBron getting J.J.REDDICK to be the head coach. And if you remember, in game, they lost 4-1. In game 4, J.J.REDDICK played his starting 5 players the entire second half, with LeBron being 40 years old, and of course Luka Doncic is being a player who's not in shape and who doesn't play any defense. So he got his son drafted, J.J.REDDICK, and the third part is he had to have something to do with Anthony Davis being traded and Luka coming to the Lakers. So he's all entangled with the front office versus being just worried about what is taking place on the court. He's also 40 years old. So I think those 3 choices that he made, Anthony leaving, Luka coming, J.J.REDDICK as a head coach, and then Bronny James getting drafted, are 3 possible failures. I don't blame him for doing it for his son. So I understand that as a father-son dynamic. But here again, I don't think that Bronny is a pro. The Luka situation, and remember, LeBron's been there 7 years, 4 head coaches. When they brought Luka in, Luka and LeBron play the same position. And they both don't play any defense. So you got a 40-year-old, 6'8", 6'9" guy, and LeBron who dominates the ball most of the time. You got 6'8" Luka Doncic, who dominates the ball, who doesn't play any defense, either one of them, who's not in the best of shape. You traded for the person with Luka, who basically does exactly the same thing that LeBron does. You only have one basketball that you utilize in a game. Which one is going to be the more dominant force? You got one basketball, but you got 2 6'8", 6'9" guys who don't play any defense. And I think that is a problem. That scenario, the Lakers probably thought it was going to be very similar to LeBron and Dwayne Wade. Luka is not Dwayne Wade. Dwayne Wade won a championship without LeBron. Dwayne Wade played on both ends of the floor. Dwayne Wade was a dog. Luka is not Dwayne Wade, let alone LeBron being a lot older than when he was at with the Miami Heat. I don't think Luka could win a championship as the solo predominant player of a team. Can he carry a franchise to the championship? I don't think so. I think his weight, I think his athleticism, being in shape, his defensive prowess is not very good. I don't think he's a Dwayne Wade, let alone a Larry Bird. So people making those comparisons are not paying attention to real basketball. This year was a failure. And what is going to be the next move for LeBron? I consider the Luka trade to the Lakers from Dallas, where these 2 players basically play the same position, play the same way, ball dominance. I compare it to Bradley Beal leaving Washington and going to Phoenix with Devin Booker. That threw me for a complete loop too. They play the same position and do everything very, very similar. And it's Devin Booker's team. Bradley had a no trade clause. One of two players that have him, I think, is him and LeBron in the entire NBA. I think Bradley Beal would have been better off staying in Washington for another year or two, or continue to build his legacy there, get his jersey held in the rafters. As a player that spent most of his career like the Mamba did with the Lakers, like Kobe Bryant did with the Lakers. These guys willing to skip and move around the teams unconsciously. I think this all started with LeBron, going back to LeBron James, the way he's bounced around. If you go back into the 80s, I'm a guy in my mid-50s, so I definitely remember it's 80s basketball. You had guys like Bird that stayed with the Celtics, Isaiah that stayed with the Pistons, of course, Michael Jordan with the Bulls and built that dynasty. Back in those days, those guys stayed with that particular team. And then you got to remember, in the collective bargaining agreement, guys can re-up and make more money with the team that they originally were with. So like everybody said, when Luka got traded from Dallas to the Lakers, he lost out on signing that next max deal, like $80 million, had he stayed with Dallas, even though Dallas wanted him to leave. But in Brad's situation, Brad plays the exact same position as Devin Booker, and I didn't think that was going to work at all. And it's interesting because you have all these coaches with analytics, and they can figure this out and figure that out. And I could see it a mile away that Devin and Bradley Beal weren't going to work. And what ended up happening to Bradley Beal? Bradley Beal went from being an all-pro, averaging 28, 30 points a game, to coming off the bench and not even in the starting lineup. So this LeBron thing, is the era over for him with the LA Lakers? I think that him and Luka will not win a championship. They play the same position. They don't play defense. I don't think you can compare LeBron James to Michael Jordan, who was first team all defense 9 times, a 10-time scoring champion, a 6 times NBA Finals MVP. I don't even think that's a close debate. LeBron is more of a Magic Johnson type of player. The GOAT is definitely MJ. And I think the Lakers have made a huge mistake by putting Luka and LeBron together. And this era of the Lakers, LeBron and Luka might be over. Tell me what you think.